Hi, it's Sarah here from Crafting and Stamping, and I'm back with another quick card. So today's quick card, I'm going to be using this beautiful set of Designer Series papers. Now I've just cut these down to 6x6 to be able to show you the different designs that we've got on here a little bit more easily, but they are a 12x12 paper and I'm going to show you how to cut them. As you can see, these are all silver foiled on one side. They've got a silver foil on one side and then there's a plain design on the other side. So if I just spread these out a little bit, you can see them a little bit more clearly. And some of the designs are really quite large. Some of them are the full 12x12. And some of them, let me just show you this is what I call the plain side. And you can see those there. And this is where they are in the catalogue. They're on page 37. And as you can see, it's 12 sheets, 2 each of 6 double-sided designs in smoky slate, basic grey, black and silver. So the one that I'm going to be using today is the one with the Christmas trees like this. And the full sheet of it comes looking like this. So you can see that it's mirrored, and what I'm going to do is cut this into a card front, into a portrait card front. So for that I want to do 3 7/8 inches. So that will give me the right width of paper for the card front, and I've got a standard A6 card front here. This one is in Night of Navy. So as you can see, if I put this on here like this, it's going to give me a blank bit at the bottom and these snowflakes across the top. Now I'm actually going to stamp this before I cut the next bit of it, because that way I can decide whether I want to trim a little off the bottom or not. And for the actual stamping, I'm using Sparkle of the Season and I'm using the Merry Christmas. I've used this Merry Christmas stamp quite a few times already. It's a really handy, bold font. And you may be able to see that I've actually cut my stamp. I've cut it into 2 so that I can put the Merry above the Christmas if I want to. And I've assembled it back on the block. And as you can see, it is starting to colour a little bit. This is just because I've used it a lot and I've used it with things like Blackberry Bliss and Real Red, and it does tend to discolour the stamp. Doesn't stop it from performing properly in any way. Now when I put it back together on the block, I always just do a test stamp to make sure that I've put it back together straight. If you snip your sentiments apart, they're very easy to put back together on the block, and that looks absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. But I always just do that test stamp to make sure. And because we've got this white space down here, I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas just in that spot. So I'll just try and do this so that you can see it well enough. And I'm actually going to do it just below the trees. I'm trying to make sure I'm using my grid paper behind to try and keep things straight. And stamp that. I just hold it there for a couple of seconds and release, and that's beautifully stamped. So what that means is, if I don't want all of that white space at the bottom, I can trim a little bit of it away. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to trim just a tiny bit of that white space, and I'm not measuring this, I'm just looking at what looks about right. So I'm going to leave just a little bit more space below the sentiment than above in that empty space. And then I can turn this way, and I'm going to cut it at 5.5 inches That's what I tend to go for a standard card front. And there we go, that is my card front. And you can see I've got another card front there to use elsewhere. And that one probably I will need to be a little bit deeper and just cut off a little strip. And that little strip might be something that I use on the inside of a card. So I'll just move that aside for now. So this I'm just going to stick onto my card front. And that will be fine. Use whichever glue you prefer. And just get that lined up central on the card front. And I tend to prefer to just flip it over and press from the back so that I don't smudge my ink at all. And there you've got a very simple card. That's how I'm leaving it for today, but I've already done one here that was in Blackberry Bliss, and as you can see you could just bling it up a little bit. I've used a stitch snowflake there and used a basic rhinestone in the centre, and that just adds a little something extra. But if you're bothered about posting, you can just leave it plain like this. So I hope that this gives you some ideas for using these beautiful papers and how simple they are to use. You could get 6 card fronts from one sheet of paper, so you'd be able to get 12 card fronts from your pack of DSP if you wanted to go for this. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for future quick cards on a Monday, except when it's the first Monday of the month, and quick tips on a Friday. So I'll be back with a quick tip on Friday. Thank you for stopping by.